Good afternoon, everybody. Just want to take a few minutes of your time to talk to you about our strategy as Crosspoint Baptist opening back up as a church and kind of what our plan is. Of course, you're seeing a lot of this on the news, businesses opening up, the country opening up. There's been a lot even on the news of churches opening up, the pros and cons to that. We have had a strategy moving forward, how we want to do this, but I want to share that with you now. And also attached to this video and to this posting will be a letter that I sent out to our church people about a week ago that will spell out everything else I'm kind of talking about right now. A couple things I'd like us to think about moving forward is we're not so interested in an opening date as we are as an opening right. And that may seem like a simplistic way of looking at this, but we want to make sure that the optic is right as well. In the executive order, it does exempt churches from the penalty, the misdemeanors, these kind of things for disregarding the executive order. But the Apostle Paul in 1 Corinthians 10, verse number 23, said, all things are lawful for me, but all things are not expedient. All things are lawful for me, but all things are not. And he was dealing with a questionable thing there in the New Testament. I think this, what we're dealing with right now, is a questionable thing. There's not necessarily a right and wrong, but the optics do make a difference to our community and to the cause of Christ. And so we want to make sure that we do this right, more so than just having a particular date in mind. And so even what I'm addressing right now, a month from now may look entirely different depending on the cycle of the virus. If it goes up or it goes down, where we're at as a society at that point. But we're hoping when this executive order expires the end of May, we get into June, we're hoping that the governor will then release some of that and we'll go down to groups of 50 or less are able to be in a building. When that happens, that will be the trigger for us as a church, and the leadership team will talk about then opening that week or the week following so that we can begin to get together even as a small group. Now, when we do that, here's a number of things we'll have to think about. We'll still continue doing social distancing. We'll still make sure that we have everything sanitized, and we'll ask people not to shake hands, bring your own coffee. It will be more of a family style worship service. So if you have young kids, bring them in. Even if it's infants, they can come in and sit in the service. We will not have children's church or junior church or Awanas or anything like that at this point. It'll just be a family style service. We'll have two services on Sundays, one at 9 and one at 10:30. One at 10:30 will be live streamed on Facebook and will also be on YouTube later on. But you'll get a chance to go to either the 9 o'clock service or the 10:30 service. Now there's a limit of 50, so this is how this is going to work. There's a place called eventbrite.com that we've used in the past, and we'll use this again for this system. And it'll be attached to our Facebook page as well as to our website, and you can go on there and click how many tickets you need for your family, and it'll take away from the number of say 40 or 45 tickets that are allowable for that service. And we're going to leave a few tickets open so that if we have guests that show up, we make sure that they're able to get into the service and hear the message of the gospel. So we'll have, as you get into the service, we'll have certain rows that'll be roped off. We'll basically be skipping a row so that we keep our distance in the service. And then also, if you're seated in the same row as another person, another family, we're asking that you leave a seat or two even between you and them so we can keep that social distancing. If you'd like to wear a mask, you feel free to wear a mask. Nobody's going to be offended. But I'd ask you also not to be offended if other people aren't wearing a mask. And the thinking is, once again, we reached that 50 mark. It's on a decline. The virus is on a decline, and we feel, and the CDC officials and those that are monitoring this virus feel it's comfortable enough that we can meet as a small group and not continue infecting other people. So we'll still, once again, have the social distancing. It'll be a family style service. It'll be 2 services on Sunday, but every other service, such as our discipleship, our Wednesday night Bible study, wall builders, these kind of different things will continue to be online for the foreseeable future. We want to limit how much we use our building to contaminate it. Although between each of the services, we're going to wipe everything down, doorknobs, seats, these kind of different things to make sure we're sanitary as well. So that's kind of what our thinking is moving forward. And there's a lot of other things, kind of bells and whistles that go into there that you can read through the description I'm going to send out to everybody. But I want to talk to you just face to face and let you know where our heart is and what we're thinking. Once again, we want to be careful that the liberty that we have, even as citizens of the state, is not something we take advantage of. So we want to make sure we're looking out for our brothers and sisters in Christ as well as our community. And that's the heart of Christianity. It really is. And Romans 13 tells us that we need to respect every ordinance of man for Christ. We have an authority that's been given of God, and so we want to respect that as much as possible. So until that point, once again, we're talking about in June at some point when it gets to 50 or less. Until that point, or even beyond that point, if needs be, we're going to continue to have our drive-in service. You can continue to join us there. Our drive-in service has been a lot of fun. We've done it the last month here. It's a fun time. You can't get out of your car. We'd ask you not to do that. You can't use the bathrooms in the church, these kind of things. But stay in your car, turn your car radio to 97.5, and you'll be able to hear the sermon. On Sunday, it's supposed to be a little rainy, but we'll have a couple canopies out there for the worship team. And we'll just worship and serve together. On your mobile device, or you can print it out on your own. If you go to crosspointbc.com or go to Facebook, to our webpage, you can download the song service for the day as well as the sermon notes for the day. So we'll continue to do that kind of for the unforeseeable future, and we'll see where that goes come June. Eventually, when it gets lifted to 250 or 500, then we'll begin to meet collectively together as a group in more of a traditional church setting. So hopefully that gives you kind of some comfort in your mind or a direction we're going as a church. So while other churches are doing it differently, this is how Crosspoint is doing this. And if you have any questions, feel free to text me, email me, call me. I'd be glad to go ahead and answer it as well. So until we meet this Sunday morning at 10:30 in the parking lot, be safe, be blessed. God has been good to us. He's still on the throne. He's still in charge of all these things. And I'd ask you to simply pray for our nation, pray for first responders, and pray for us as leadership of many different churches across the state to know exactly how to handle this betterment of, and for the edification. God bless you. We're so thankful for each of you, and we will see you this coming Sunday.